I was out and about today, and how you like that professional lighting? I got back just in time. I was able to hear some of that Magic Matt Allen radio show. Wild, man, wild. On one hand, I feel like I owe Matt an apology. It's funny. They don't. If you're here, like you watch me on my thing, you know I'm not scripted or anything. I just start talking. I don't know what I'm going to say or how I'm going to say it. I don't know how it's going to come out or how I'm going to come across. Don't care too much about how I come across, but I oftentimes misspeak, or I'm not as concise as I wish I was in making some points. And that video, it's funny because I had forgotten about it. I put it out there and forgot. I've been working. You guys know, you've been watching. You see how many videos I'm churning out of what I've been doing. And the only reason I'm doing that is because of you, right? I keep getting these questions. What's next? What's going on there? What happened with the project? You know. So I'm just keeping you guys apprised of what's going on. That's all. And the video was actually for you and for my fans, which sounds ridiculous to say. I don't have that big of an ego, as you know as well. So I was getting a lot of comments in my own videos. I don't know if they ever read any of those things, and also private messages, and then phone calls with people I actually know. Obviously, I'm not talking to strangers that are watching me on YouTube about it, and they were curious what was going on, and that's probably what got more into my head anyhow, because as I mentioned in that video, I wasn't aware kind of what the dynamics were that were really going on there. But the video was for the people who watch my channel, to let you know what was going on in my mind about it and why I wasn't going to probably go back, right? Which I guess now I won't, which is cool. I still like Matt. He's a pro. But it was funny the way, if you take a video like that, which again is, it's not scripted. I don't know where I'm coming from on it. I'm just diarrhea of the mouth. And you play it in clips like that, and then you take what was just said and go after it without waiting for it's kind of like taking little things out of context, which makes it sound way worse. They do that to Trump all the time, right? They always want to, they don't want to wait for the whole thing or the whole context of the point he's making. Along the way, he kind of misspeaks. Well, he used to. He's way better now. But, it's about the overall point, the overall vibe of what's going on there. And along the way, there's going to be a few missteps, a few jokes that some people won't get. And when I'm kind of patting myself on the back or something, you guys know that's me goofing on myself. I'm not that full of myself. If you've been here long enough, you watch the videos, you know it. I don't have to explain it to you. So, and the thing about goofing on me, about wanting to be a nice person, if you guys have been here long enough and you've heard the stories, what I've done, you know what's going on. The truth is, and I don't like admitting it, and I've alluded to it, I've told you stories when I was a juvenile delinquent and all the things I did as a young person. Most of my life I spent time around dangerous people. Straight up killers, a lot of them, right? I've spent time with super rich, wealthy people, artists, doctors, lawyers, all that, but I've also spent time with hardcore criminals and what you would consider bad people. And I've got, and the watch channel thing, the whole Paluca watch channel really comes about because, as much as I hate to admit it, it's just a fact. I'm a bit of a Paluca. So I don't like that side of me. I like it, don't like it. I'm going to say exactly what I said in some other video not long ago, because there's this thing that happens where you don't like to lose your shit and have to get violent with somebody, but you kind of do like it at the moment, right? There's this thing that happens where it's a crazy thing to reveal, but it's the truth. Most Marines are like this, okay? Most special ops type guys are this. They have this kind of mentality. Happy-go-lucky guys. If you see those guys out and about, they want to have a good time, have a few drinks, be happy, keep it light, that sort of thing. If you know them well, there's some digging going on, and that's fine. but there's always an underlying respect there, you know. But then again, if somebody crosses the line, bam, you know, you guy's spitting his own teeth out. That's happened. So that's the thing where I'm trying to avoid that now later in life. I'm not getting any younger. I don't need to be that person. So that's the reason why I keep talking about wanting to be a nice guy. That's why. Everybody's judgmental to a point. That is the truth, man. But I try not to be. I'm honestly trying to make a better version of myself. So if I'm going to be in an atmosphere where there's a lot of that going on, this is just me. See, when I say this, that's not the same thing as giving them grief or trying to talk them down or talk the show down or anything. That's not my intention. If it's taken that way, I understand it, but not my intention. The way I see what I'm saying is this is me explaining I'm the one with the problem. I'm the one with the problem. They're not the ones with the problem. I'm the one with the problem. That's all that is. That's all that is. I'm a retired paluca, man. I mean, did some stuff. So, but I still have that funny trigger mechanism in me that you can't get rid of that, and that's always the initial thing. So that Marty thing, I'm not really upset with him. One time he said to me before a show, I think it was the second time, basically alluded to the fact that he can be kind of a jerk. It's just for the show, whatever, and that's fine. But then you can just keep doing it. So that's a weird thing. I used to know people like that. One guy in particular, when I was in the nightclub business, working for the mob, and he would constantly do that sort of exact same thing. Always apologize. And then, and I was young. I was a lot younger. It was harder for me to control myself. And I got in his face one day about it. I said, hey, how about you just don't fucking do it anymore? And he's like, yeah, then you want to apologize to me all the time. Now, again, that's not me trying to say he's wrong. Maybe I'm the one who's wrong for reacting the way that I do. I just know that I can do this thing and it gets volatile at the drop of a hat. And I want to avoid that happening. That's all it is. That's all it is. And the whole discussion about going in an interview and not knowing anything, of course I would know something. I totally did not get that right, the way I was trying to explain it. But I think that and you could go watch the video, I'll put a link to it. I'll put a link to both of them. I'll put a link to their video in this too. If you go to my video and watch the whole thing, and those of you who know me personally or been here for a long enough period of time, you watched my videos, I don't think the vibe that I'm giving out there is necessarily the way it was kind of put to you on the show today, but that's fine. I think that it was funny. I kind of got a kick out of it, and I don't blame them. I could see how you would see it as like an attack on you personally or whatever. A lot of the way they were framing things was not what was in my mind at all. It was not about knocking the show. Clearly, if you take my words precisely and you look at it from their point of view, that's how it sounds, so I can't fault them for seeing it that way. Not how I intended it. Not how I intended it. Sorry. Don't have a problem apologizing. Don't have a problem being wrong. I know I'm wrong often. I know I'm not as clear as I need to be. That's the thing that you lack when you're not in person having a conversation with somebody. And you will say, well, why weren't you there? You could have been there. You could have done that on the air with them, that whole thing. Very difficult when there's all these talking heads interjecting and you want to make a point. I'm not used to that, that's all. So, yeah, that's all this is. So, it's funny thinking about it because even when I did it, you could tell in the beginning of that video what's going on in my mind. And keep in mind, I said it already. First thing in the morning, I got in the van, I'm driving. I literally rolled out of bed a few minutes earlier, so I'm not really fully aware of where I'm going with it. I just went with it. I ramble like I'm doing right now. And I actually lost my train of thought right now. So there you go. There's that. And Matt might see it this way, and he wouldn't be wrong. That was good for me doing that show because there's the potential for exposure that can help you grow as a person. and maybe get into that business or whatever, and that's fine. I don't really have that sort of ambition necessarily. I like entertaining the idea of it. It seems interesting. It's always been a little fantasy since you're a young person. And the idea of when I had mentioned about what it costs for gas and not being reimbursed, that's not me. They totally took that the wrong way. That's not me. I get it though. I get it. Here, they're listening to what I'm saying exactly. And again, this is a Trump thing, right? I'm not trying to compare myself to Trump, but just the way the media does that sort of thing where they, what did he say? That's exactly what he said. Let's take that and run on that. It's not how I meant it. There's a bigger nuanced point there, which is if you have a regular job, this is not my job. And I volunteered. They asked me to be there the one time. That's it. I talked to Matt about it. He liked having me there. Fine. It's all good. I enjoyed it when I was there for the most part. The thing about the time is real. If it's a job, if you do get paid, then you understand that hey, here's your job description, and you're going to be sitting here, and this is what it is. These are the dynamics. So can you do that? Okay, you can. All right, fine, boom. And then you can still make that choice, right? Whether or not you want to be in that atmosphere. And so that's different. That's not what this was. And they didn't ask me to do anything specific. I suppose they were happy that I was there when I was there. It's fine. I had a good time with it. The numbers thing, that's me kind of goofing around, man. I'm just joking around. I didn't take most of what I said all that serious in that video. So anyhow, I thought it was interesting that they did that. I find that fascinating. I think it's probably smart in a way. Like maybe it's good radio. Maybe this helps prolong that. Like it's a storyline on a show. They could bring it up again. Take this and take it out. And he said it again. He's patting himself on the back again. He's talking out both sides of his mouth again. Yeah, okay. I'm human, man. I'm a human being, and I make mistakes and I screw up. But honestly, I don't know if you know who the Rosicrucians are or any of that sort of thing, but I just think that, and this is my own thought. I'm not saying they need to do it. I'm not saying you need to do it. I'm saying that, what else are you here for? Are you just here to bicker and that sort of thing and be in that mind and be the judgmental type and throw stuff out there? And, I understand that is entertaining for a lot of people. Again, this is not necessarily about that show. I'm saying in general terms. I'm trying to avoid that personally for myself as much as possible because I spent a big portion of my life not being a nice guy. There's regrets there in life. I don't have a whole lot of regrets. I like to say that out loud, but when I really think about it, I've done some horrible things in my life. It's not good. I've been exposed to some horrible things that I didn't do, but I was there. Or I've been part of the aftermath of it that now you got to deal with, which is horrible and not nice. So, that's all that is. And I'll tell you something, if you know guys that have been through some things, you will notice that they are working on being a better person. It's funny, war is one of those things. Never experienced real war when I was in the Marine Corps. I did a little private work, but I don't want to get into that. The thing is, you take the guys from World War II that survived that, and the atrocities they lived through, what they went through. And when they came home, what did they want to do? They wanted to get married, have kids, raise a family, make this country strong, be better versions of themselves. They didn't want their kids to ever have to go through what they went through, right? That's what it is. So if you go through rough things in life, if you see horrible things, then you don't want any bad. You don't want anything that could be construed as negativity or whatever. So you can still jump on me and think I'm being overly sensitive or whatever. I wouldn't disagree with you in some ways. I do whatever I can to back away because I know that I have a little bit of I've told the story before. I don't know if they've heard it, but I'll mention it here. It was put to me one day after a job in the movie business. This guy I knew mouthed off, shouldn't have done it, and I straightened him out, and he automatically, profusely apologized. And after work, I said to him right there, so let's just go back to work, and we'll talk about this after work. And after work, we went to this bar, had some drinks. This other guy joined us. We started telling each other what other people say about you and you or me when you or me isn't there. And when it got to me, this guy Sandro said, well, Mike, everybody thinks you've got a screw loose and nobody wants to be around when it wiggles free. So I know that if you know me well enough, you've been around me long enough, you've seen me interact with people in stressful situations and getting things done and all that, I understand that I have that thing. On one hand, it's kind of a good thing because then less people attempt to push your buttons. On the other hand, it's not great because that's scary to a lot of people. So I don't like having that effect on people, you know. So that's all that is. I just know how this dynamic works with certain types of personalities. And I got this fucked up thing, man, where it was a problem for me in the film business. It was a problem for me in the Marine Corps. It's been a problem for me my whole life. It's the reason I live alone, work alone, all of it. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right. I could be the one with the problem. Clearly, I got the problem. But when I have to interact with people who are not doing their job well, or, you know, they're just kind of making time or whatever, if I perceive it that way, again, not saying I'm right. But if I get that in my head, then I cut that out, make it better, make this better. Take this, I could take anything that's brand new, that's super cool, and look at it, and usually I could see a way to make it better. So that's all that was. I got into that weird mindset when it came to his show, thinking about it from those points of view. Now, right there, they can easily knock me on that because I don't know what I'm talking about. But as a human being that watches or listens to that sort of stuff from time, I don't really listen to radio stuff, the talking heads thing, or never been real big on listening to a lot of other people's thing, because I'm always nervous that they're coming from it from a point of view where they're trying to get me to think the same way that they do. If that's what you think I'm doing, I'm not. I don't want you to have to agree with me or think the same way I do about anything. I'm just being myself, and I'm being egged on more and more and more by my viewers. That's all. So that's it. I'm not gonna, who would I interview is a question. I don't care about super famous people. I think average people are interesting, but people that produce something. All the people that are in my life, and just like Matt, all the people that are in my life that choose something and do it, and they're really good at it, those are my favorite kinds of people. But that could be all kinds of things. That could be a great hot rod mechanic. It could be my buddy that built up his business with the restaurant and the bait and tackle shop, that sort of thing. There's a lot of people out there in the world that don't pursue dreams or haven't gone through that where they've achieved something. A tear is brought to my eye on a regular occasion when I see other people succeed, successful people. So people that are doing well, and success doesn't necessarily mean millions of dollars and all that. But if I perceive somebody as being successful, they take what they do, they're really good at it, I want to, and I do this all the time with people I know. I want to talk to them about it and what they're doing, and people find that interesting. People find average people interesting, believe it or not. That's what YouTube is. YouTube is just average people doing what they want to do, putting their vibe out there, whatever it is, and maybe something happens with it. More often than not, probably nothing happens with it. I mean, I can, not to be picking on anybody, okay? I'm not picking on anybody. But if you look at a lot of people on YouTube, they're not necessarily the best looking people. I'm not the best looking person. Yeah, I don't think that about myself at all. Even the watch channels, right? Like, I'm lucky. I've been working with my hands my whole life, wrenching on cars, building shit, all that stuff. But I'm lucky I have pretty decent hands. I keep up with it and keep them clean and all that. And when I watch some of these watch channels, when I look at some of the hands on these people, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But that's okay. because that there's a guy, the Watcher, I think. This guy's super cool, knowledgeable guy. He buys a lot of homage watches. I think he's in England. He looks like he might be of Middle Eastern descent. He's got an English accent, and his left hand is funny because he's missing his whole left thumbnail. The top of the finger's cut off. He's got a scar on this hand, and you're watching a video, like, you can't not see that. But after the first time you watch it, you don't notice it as much. You kind of respect the guy for just going for it anyhow, and you just listen to what he's saying. That's what YouTube is. It's not, YouTube is, there are people, the living the van life. That guy Chad, I've met him before. That's a pro YouTuber, man. That guy he's making movie quality videos. He happens to be a handsome fella as well. He was doing it. I don't have to get into it. Look him up, Living the Van Life. One of the best YouTube channels out there. Foresty Forest, another one I like. Guy lives in his van. There's a guy totally unassuming. He's made fun of himself where he's played clips of him trying to say the same thing over and over again like a script. He's not good at it. He doesn't like talking. He says it, right? Not you wouldn't look at him and think he's Robert De Niro or something, or some good-looking person. Not that he's not. I'm just saying he's just a little guy living in his van doing his thing. I got tremendous respect for this cat, man. He is climbing mountains. He's living in a van. He built the van out in the wintertime in Canada. Like, it's mind-blowing. These are the people, average human beings, living their lives on their own terms and putting it out there for you to watch it. And some of them hit it off pretty big and they like it. Sarah Wonder Hussey's the same thing. She just started doing her thing. She's doing it. She's good at it. She knows she's good at it. She's got followers. All that's great. The Matt thing with the radio, that's a radio show. So that is, he's got outlines. He knows what he's going to talk about. Boom. He's got his people in there and they do their thing. And that's all fine. I'm not knocking that. It just was weird for me. That's all. Am I saying I can't do that? Of course not. Of course I could do it. But, it's more than anything else. It was just really just that time thing. And it's not like they were asking me to do it. He just liked having me there. And I enjoyed being there. I was just trying to explain. It does sound like, because I was repeating myself a lot. Because again, I was still waking up. I shouldn't do that. I guess I was just trying to tell you why I probably wouldn't be there. It wasn't supposed to be seen as me goofing on them or trying to make them look bad or feel bad or anything like that. So the fact that they took it that way is regrettable. It's regrettable. I said it earlier, do I have other things in my life that are regrettable? Things I kind of regret? Yeah, it's damn friggin' straight, man. Damn straight. Like I said, I spent a big portion of my life doing bad things and not being nice to people and like physically hurting people, injuring people. It's not a good thing. So I guess I'm at this point in my life now where I'm like making amends for it or something. I'm just trying to be better. And I'm telling you, there's a good thing here and I'm happy. So I got to be me, and being me makes me happy, and that's just how it is. That's it. Have a good day. Don't know if this helps. Be good to one another. I'm always going to try to be the best version of myself. But I know, inevitably, I'm human. I'm going to screw up, man. I'm going to say the wrong thing. I probably did it here a couple times already. I'm going to misspeak in my videos. I'm far from perfect. I don't think that highly of myself. I've said it in my earlier videos. Don't even know why I'm doing it. I'm just compelled to do so. So there you have it. Thanks for being here. If you want to continue to be here, I'd appreciate it. And I think they take it the wrong way. Like if they hear me say I want to interview somebody, I don't want to do their format, have some radio show and that sort of thing. They'll see, because it's going to happen. I'm going to sit down and we're going to break some stuff out and talk about stuff and show a technique on something and laugh and goof on each other. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But it's not a competition to me. I'm not trying to be better than that show or anything else. I'm just trying to be the best version of me and whatever else I could put out there. and I want to be entertaining for you, because I know people are craving it. Not me. It's not about me. But people are out there and they're on YouTube and they're watching other people on YouTube because they enjoy it. It's an escape from their own personal life. And I think it's a better choice than watching sitcoms or any of the overly produced productions that you see on television and all that. Because if you're not aware of it, even when they're doing something that's supposedly historically kind of accurate, many times there's these subtle messages programmed in there for a way for you to think about something. There's a lot of revisionist history in there to get you to believe something happened a certain way, which is not so whatsoever. I see it all the time, and I've pointed out in some of these videos here. So I feel like a lot of people, well, pretty much everybody who's watching YouTube, millions of people are there because they really want just real people, just talking plainly, being themselves. Screw ups, being wrong, all that stuff. As long as you're just being genuine, you're being honest about your thought process and who you are, what you want, and what you're doing, you're fine. I got into this habit where I was watching these shows that were just train wrecks, man. Like guys working on their stuff, especially with the Astro fans. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so much fun to watch, even though you know it's wrong. You're like, oh my God. It's just... So that's why YouTube exists. If you're coming from that world of being pro and boom, 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 that's not how YouTube does that thing. And the best interviewers on YouTube is just two people sitting in club chairs, maybe smoking a cigar and having a conversation. Those are the best. Look it up. Look it up. Having an interesting person on that can talk. Even Rogan. I mean, that guy, not that I would ever, I'm not comparing myself to Joe Rogan. Can you imagine? I highly doubt anything like that would ever happen. But he has a lot of people on you've never heard of. And it's a, hour-long, 3-hour-long conversation, and they're interesting. But they've all done something, and mostly they've written books or something. And he finds them interesting. And then it's fun. And he's a comedian, and he can throw some jokes in there and make you laugh and knock you off balance. That's good. But most of those people are not celebrities, right? They're not, most of them are not like actors and whatnot. They're people who are actually doing cool stuff in the world. That's what makes it interesting. They're your average human being. They don't look like supermodels or anything like that. They've lived a life. They've achieved some moniker. I don't know the word, but I'm going to try to say it. Modicum? I don't know. I'm a paluca. They've reached some sort of level of success or something where enough people maybe know who they are, so he thinks it's worth having them on. Boom. Simple as that. I've had conversations with bums on the street many times. That would be fun. Just, it's dangerous, especially right now. It's a little sketchy, but you could just do a show like that. When I was a photographer, this video's never going to friggin' end. When I was working as a photographer, doing more of that, actually there was a point in time, not long, it was similar to the Matt show. I shot stills for the Dr. Susan Block podcast, and she's like a sex therapist. She mixes left-wing politics with porn. It's disgusting. And I shot stills. They're nice enough people. I'm not saying they're disgusting, but the situation was this kind of dingy little thing. I'm going to get grief for this now. The last time I did it, Ron Jeremy showed up. So I've got all these pictures, man. It's pretty out there. It's straight up porn. People having sex and everything. And it with dirty feet, and the set's dirty. It's just not cool. So I lost my train of thought there again. Let me drink another cup of water here. It's like Frank Sinatra. If you believe that's water. Anyhow, I'm just going to end this. I'm not going to keep going on. You guys know what I'm getting at. Yeah, that's it. I'm just going to stop talking. I'm losing on the light. Have a great day. Again, be kind. Work on being the best version of yourself. I don't see how you can pick that apart. But yes, they were right on picking up on the fact that I say that and I repeat that often because it takes work for me. It takes work for me. I'll catch you guys in the next one.